Okay, this is a video about a Colt 1903. This particular one was made in 1907. It's their first generation. There are some ways you can tell which generation it is. There's a little arrow mark here. It actually is an arrow, kind of shows you where the takedown is. It's got kind of an odd takedown, especially this first generation of it. I think they had a total of 5 different types. But you can tell based on this little arrow here, and then also the length of the barrel is about a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch. I can't remember which. I think it's about a 1/4 inch longer than most of them. The gun doesn't have a hold open. It has a heel style magazine release. The sights are primitive. They're definitely not what we're used to today. It's chambered in 32 ACP, the 7.65 millimeter. It's got its little grip safety here. That at first when I picked it up, I was kind of wondering if I was going to pinch myself, because when I just hold it, it kind of almost wants to pinch, but when I'm shooting it, it never does. The pistol I've been using, essentially just the cheapest I can find of the 32 ACP ammunition. Came in from guns.com is where I got it. They don't give me any money. I wish they would, but they don't. I ordered it from them. It was true to what they had on their website. I think I got this for like $5.50. Most of these you see a lot more expensive. It appears to have been reblued at some point in its life. But you know, I took the top apart, and it was actually very clean on the inside of the slide. The firing pin mechanism is a little unique. I didn't take the bottom all the way down, but you know, we're not seeing any signs of rust, anything like that. So I'm real happy with guns.com. I mean, you know, they answered the questions that I had. I was able to actually talk to a person. There was an issue with the order, with like a computer issue. For some reason it wouldn't go through. Somebody was able to help me out with it. Arrived at my FFL, I would say 3-4 business days after I placed the order. So, you know, shipping was reasonably quick. I've also sold them a gun in the past, so I've had good experiences both ways with guns.com. So if you find something on their website, yeah, it probably is exactly what it's described to be. 8-round magazines. I haven't picked up any extra magazines yet, and this top, you can see that, you know, the round wants to do that. So I mean, it's definitely an old magazine. The feed lips maybe aren't quite what they ought to be, but you know, I haven't really had any issues with it. I'm going to shoot at the little bottom circle. I'm only about, probably about, what is that, 10, 12 feet away, maybe 15 at the most. To release the slide, there is the slide release here, but if you use the slide release, it won't strip the round off. And essentially it's because the slide, when it's held with this, isn't back far enough to strip the round. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And there's nothing in the chamber right now because of that. So you have to actually bring it all the way back, which is past where the slide release is by about, I'd say about a 1/2 inch, somewhere in that ballpark, and then let the slide go forward. There is also a manual safety here, and the manual safety does function as intended. I'm having to activate the grip safety and the manual safety at the same time. With the safety down, and there's no click or anything, it's just a slider. And so it slides down. There's no click. There's no real tactile feel, but then it's down. So with my lovely sight picture, I'm kind of all over the place. I've got one kind of off to about 10 o'clock. I've got one about 12:30, and then I've got some that are closer in. And some of that's me, but some of it is also probably the gun. And there is no last shot's hold open, so you have to open the gun, or you have to pull the slide back, and then just line that up and do that in order to be able to show safe. And then again, it's got the heel release. The recoil on the gun, as you'd expect from a 7.65 round, Browning round, the 32 auto, is not bad at all. I'm just going to go through another 8 rounds here. I haven't bothered looking for an extra magazine yet, but when I do, hopefully I'll be able to find at least some. Unlike, say, for the Beretta here, the little 22 Beretta I picked up from Classic Firearms, apparently the only way to get another magazine is to buy another gun, because nobody makes them. So I'm hoping that's not the case with the little Colt 1903. So this time I'm going to do it like I'm supposed to. Instead of just using the quote-unquote slide release, I'm going to retract it, and I actually saw the round move up a little bit in the magazine, and then let it go forward. And I'm empty. So, if we take a quick look at the target, I mean, they're all in that circle there. I mean, obviously there's a pretty wide dispersion. You know, I had a couple that were kind of flyers. Most of them are, you know, kind of in that 3-4 inch circle. You know, from the distances we're at today, I mean, that's definitely not what you would want in terms of accuracy. But, you know, for a barrel that's probably, you know, 113 years old, because it doesn't look to be a replacement barrel, it looks to be the original, in a pistol that, you know, again, is well over a century, it's not bad. I mean, you know, it's a neat shooting little gun. It's the kind of thing that, if you want something a little bigger than a 22 that's reliable, but is a smooth shooting kind of a pistol, then, you know, this may be something to consider, particularly if you have somebody who's kind of recoil sensitive. You do have the manual safety, which you can use or not use. You also have the grip safety. So, you know, there are a couple of John Browning's original features. And, you know, is that acceptable accuracy? Yeah, I would guess so, for a self-defense kind of a purpose. Now, the sights, there's nothing you can do about the front sight whatsoever. It's just part of the slide, or it just appears to be part of the slide. The rear sight, you know, could you get something a little better? Yeah, I'm sure you probably could, but without a reasonable front sight, you know, I think the pistol pretty much is what it is. And in terms of a point shooting kind of self-defense kind of a gun, you know, yeah, it's definitely reasonable. I mean, I like all the rounded edges for concealed carry. You've got all the rounding here. There's very little to snag on. The safety hardly sticks out past the slide itself. It does just a smidge, maybe an eighth of an inch above where the line of the slide is. But there's really not a lot to snag on. You know, so it's an interesting piece of shooting history. So, you know, if you have the opportunity to pick up one of these old Colts, you know, you may want to take advantage of it.